Hi Carson, it's Phil Hudson. I'm here to talk just a little bit about some of the safety and security information for Rachel Carson and through Fairfax County. First, we'll start off where you can find a lot of the information that's needed. You'll see that in the Safety and Security tab underneath the Rachel Carson Staff Handbook. So when you click on that tab, it will bring up a lot of information you see under here. You have the Crisis Intervention Plan, you have our Crisis Phone Tree, Fire Drill Checklist, Fire Drill Staging Areas, Fire Evacuation Procedures, Lockdown Procedures, Tornado Drill Procedures. Also, you have a safety map and lockdown covers. If you're still looking for some of those things, Mr. Estep, myself, and the administrators are still working to make sure that we have all that information in your rooms and posted appropriately. But if you do not have that, make sure that you let us know so we can take care of that. All this information is very detailed and to support you through that, but I'm going to go through a simpler checklist just to highlight a few areas. To start off here, we have the FCPS Safety and Security Crisis Management. So to start off, we have our fire alarms and evacuation. This is just a real quick snippet of information. One of the big things we want to make sure we're working with our students is to understand that on our way out of the building that we are silent. That'll support us with making sure that we can do this effectively, take attendance, and make sure that the drill is taken seriously. Scrolling on down, we have the lockdown. And looking at the lockdown, we wanted to highlight the area that basically this is used for if there's a situation that's going on within our building. There's other things that I will be talking about in a second that will handle if we have a situation from outside the building. But if you look at these procedures, it'll go through basically, we want to make sure that the doors are locked and they're closed. You want to have your lockdown cover over top of your window. You want to make sure that the students are in a safe area and in a calm manner, that you take them to that area so that they're away from as many of the windows as possible. You want to close the shades, and you want to make sure that cell phones are turned off or silenced. You can go through the rest of that information, and also under the handbook it has more. But the big thing we wanted to understand is that lockdown is for if we have a situation within the building. Moving on down, we have secure the building. So looking at the secure the building, this would be something that if we have outside of the building, and we needed to make sure that we're going to lock the building doors, but we still have students that can move throughout the building. Trailers would stay within the trailers, but they can move within the trailers. They would wait for more information, either from safety and security, the administrators, or other people to come out and support whether or not they would then leave the trailers and come into the building. But we would communicate with you to let you know what's going on with that. Moving on down to shelter in place. Shelter in place is a step up from secure the building. So we would still have the doors locked. However, we'd be moving people inside the building. And possibly we might have to actually cut off the power so that the ventilation system wouldn't be working. So we wouldn't be bringing in chemicals or things from outside. So shelter in place is really used so that if we have to worry about, let's say a tanker truck's on fire up on the road or things like that, that would have a fume or a gas or things that we would have to be worried about. So shelter in place would be used for that. Stay put, stay tuned is very similar to secure the building. However, during this period of time, parents would still have the ability to come in and check their students in and out, so that if we would have people at the front office working with that. We have down here miscellaneous. I apologize for the picture, but what that's supposed to represent is the call button that's in your room. In every room in this building, we have a silver little tab that has a black button in the middle of that. That black button rings out to multiple locations in the building, so that if you cannot get to a phone, but you hit that button, that will allow for us to be able to, one, identify what room, or it allows for us to speak with you. Also in your room, you have a phone. The best thing to do is you dial 0. By dialing 0, it will ring to multiple locations in the building, so that if someone's not sitting at their desk at that point in time, it would ring to the next location. That would increase our ability to be able to get support to your location. A couple other things to note is for the EpiPen, we do have an EpiPen response team that would work with supporting students if that's needed, or a staff member. But those EpiPens are stored in the front office behind the mailboxes or up in C213. However, the ones that are in C213 will be moved to the BPOD assistant principal's outer office. So that would be my outer office in BPOD. We will let you know when that takes place. A few things to support also our safety and security is making sure that we always have our doors locked, whether they are occupied or not occupied. And you'll see that up here, it says not occupied. but we want to make sure that those doors are locked at all times. You can have it propped open, but that way if we had to go to a lockdown or take other measures, that we could just pull the door closed. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. We want to work with students as well as us as staff members to not open the doors for anyone. We have the system set up so that when they scan, that we can scan them in and we can document appropriately. That will support the front office so that they can make sure people are being checked in appropriately. Another thing to pay attention to is just making sure that, sorry about that, I got distracted. One last thing, just wanted to remind you that if you were to lose your badge with your Prox key or your keys to your classroom, please notify an administrator and the front office as soon as possible. We don't want you to leave for the day or 2 days later. We really need to know immediately so that we can take actions to make sure that we support that the building stays as a safe location and also your classroom as well. So thank you very much. Make sure that you review this information in the staff handbook. And if you have any questions, all the administrators are here to support you. Hope we have a great school year and thank you very much.